Hey everybody out there in YouTube world, it's me, Sam, your pal, your friend, your trusted bike shop advisor, your resident nerdy expert, the guy who works behind the counter for not a lot of money, but makes sure that you get the right stuff for your right bike. Anyway, today is a big day because there's a new shoe in town, and it's coming out of our friends in the Netherlands, Lake Cycling. Are you ready for this? You want to hear about it? Here we go. Indoor shoes, outdoor shoes, cycling advice, all sorts of advice, and all sorts of crazy things. That's been Shoe Guru.
No, rewind. Okay, good.
All right, let's open up this box and take a look at this shoe, huh? Right there, inside this box, is a revolution, a change, and how hopefully every shoe manufacturer will think about cycling footwear. There it is, the 201. Initially, I can see some differences from lots of other shoes. Doesn't look like there's any retention system up here in the toe, and looks like it's got a lot of mesh. I see a new boa dial that I've never seen before. And I happen to know it's a completely new outsole. Now sure, you say to yourself, it's just another shoe. But it's not. It's far from it. This is a complete change, and hopefully the spark that will create how shoe designers think about their product for the market. And here's why. Lake worked really hard, and they spent a lot of money to create this shoe. The first thing they did was they started from the ground up with an entirely new last. The last, if you remember from my previous videos, is the form with which the shoe is made. The last determines the overall shape of the shoe. Now, my relatively normal foot swims inside this size 44 sample size, but that's only one size larger than I wear, and that's because the last is so voluminous that I would have to crank the shoe all the way down in order to grab my foot. Opening up a new line of lasts is an incredibly expensive and arduous process for a shoe manufacturer to partake in, and most companies don't do it. A lot of the time, it takes a long time to recoup the cost of opening up an entirely new last. Number 2, the outsole. It's an entirely new outsole, and if you take a good look at it, it's got a lot more of a natural foot shape than previous lasts in both their line and any other manufacturer's line. They allow room for your second toe to be a little longer than your big toe if that's how you're shaped. Also, it's a more squared off toe box shape. In my opinion, this shoe is quite reminiscent of more of a rectangle in shape than a traditional shoe's triangular shape. 3. They created a last, or an outsole, that has quite a bit of heel flare. This uptick in the bathtub-esque sole here, that's called a heel flare. And that does two things. Number one, it secures the upper against the outsole when clipping and unclipping. That'll diminish the amount of separation or possibility of separation between the upper and the outsole from all of this lateral movement. 2, believe it or not, when you cycle, your forefoot moves slightly independently of your heel. And that's fine. That's just a process of how we're built and how we cycle. But this shoe resists the twisting forces that go into your pedal stroke, thus stabilizing your foot, your ankle, your knee, your hip, your entire kinetic chain. So even though all day I can talk about the new IP2 boa dial or the replaceable heel pad or the replaceable toe strike, the important thing to keep in mind here is that Lake spent a lot of money to create something that's different in the market that fulfills a specific need. And that need is for high volume, high or low instep, low arch shoes for people that have splayed toes, a squarer toe box shape, a larger ankle and heel. And most manufacturers just don't cover that territory. The last thing that makes this shoe important, a bit of a revolution, small but big, is that they've ditched the lowest retention system. So our toe box retention, that last one you have, with some manufacturers it's a Velcro strap, with other manufacturers it's a completely separate BOA dial. It's actually rather unnecessary, because in order to control your foot during the pedal stroke, you don't actually need anything down here to rein in the volume. Okay, look at the running shoe world, right? We have Ultra, Vivo Barefoot, those 5-finger Vibram toe things, Merrell. There are lots of companies out there that are pushing the envelope and trying to support more of a natural foot shape when we run. But why are we still cramming our toes, cramming our feet in pointy-toed Italian dress shoes when we ride our bikes? It doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. It's because they look good. But who cares? If I'm flying by you in the park and I'm wearing this and you're in your fancy seedy, what's it matter if you're in a fancy seedy? My feet are comfortable. I'm not doing damage to my feet with every pedal stroke. So I hope that the cycling world, and specifically cycling shoe manufacturers, begin to move more in this direction, into a more natural foot shape, a more natural toe box shape that will allow where we ditch the lower retention system, where we actually open up the toe box of cycling shoes. I mean, look at the S-Works 7, right? The S-Works 6 and the S-Works 7, they actually began to balloon it out a little bit to allow for a little bit more room. I can only think that, some of their original testers were tired of having their pinky toes crammed into their fourth and third toes, overlapping them when they were climbing things like the Alpe d'Huez and these famous rides. So, Blake, thanks so much for considering that there are parts of the world that can't cram their feet into these crazy shoes, and that those people need cycling shoes too, because they do. So if you've got a flat foot, a wide foot, a tall instep, a low instep, this shoe can really work for you. This can be your game changer shoe, the shoe you've been looking for so long. Well, for $260, it's not cheap, I admit. But you're getting a lot for your money. You're getting a stiff carbon outsole, a brand new high capacity BOA dial. You're getting something that will work for flat feet or feet with a decent arch. So I think it's a win. I think it's a total win. That's my review for the new Lake CX201. I hope you've enjoyed my video. Feel free to click the like and subscribe button below and tune in for more content coming from me, Sam, the Spin Shoe Guru. You can always come down here to the bike shop, Bicycles NYC in New York City, and I'll be happy to fit you for a pair of shoes myself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.